have is the potential transfer of land at 226 Cedar Street to an unknown party at this time for the development of an affordable housing unit. So we currently have an RFP out. I've been working with the Housing Partnership and Town Council to put out an RFP for the development of an affordable housing unit at 226 Cedar Street. So this was one of two parcels that I had asked the Board of Selectmen to retain for potential affordable housing development. They were tax takings, and the Board of Selectmen agreed, and it was voted at town meeting. Unfortunately, the other parcel did not perk, so we only have the one lot at this time. So we've put out an RFP. On Monday, we will have our pre-bid meeting where prospective proposers are invited to come meet with the permitting staff. We're going to walk the property if anyone has the desire or has any questions. So far, only 2 entities have requested a copy of the RFP, the full RFP documents. So as part of this process, the town will, this property will be donated, or for $1, I believe, is what we did the last time we did one with Habitat for Humanity, and that vote has to occur at town meeting, and it's to transfer it from the care, custody, and control of the town administrator to this unnamed entity.
That's north of the turnpike, right?
Yes.
Across the turnpike?
Yes.
Which side is it on as you're heading north?
It'll be on your left, yeah, it'll be on this left, on your right-hand side.
Cedar Street on, so it's past the...
It's past the
Yes,
turnpike.
it is. Yep.
You go over the turnpike.
No, the
bridge.
turnpike bridge.
Yeah, way up.
Yeah,
It's
226.
up near where
Yeah,
the
it's
old
pretty-
landfill used to
that's
be on
pretty
the
far.
left, right?
There were 2. It was 226 and I think it was 284. I'm sorry, the exact number escapes me, but the other one did not perk.
So, but the one that you have to, the one that you're gonna transfer to Habitat for Humanity. is
Or
the one-
whomever, it did perk.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yes.
vacant parcel.
It's a vacant parcel, meets the requirements, and did perk.
Right.
So
So
those are the 2 articles that I will have. I also have a placeholder request in with the Community Preservation Committee, and that is also related to the development of an affordable housing unit. So we've asked in the RFP that they provide us information on how much town assistance they're looking for. So if it's, it could be Habitat, it could be another agency. Normally they do their own fundraising, but normally they're also looking for some community preservation funds, town support to help get the project going. So those are my articles. Oh, I take that back. I also, it's not part of my budget this year, the codification that we talked about last year for the zoning bylaws. I did receive a new quote and added the general bylaw in there as well. And Barbara has decided that should be its own separate article this year rather than part of my budget. So that, those will be the articles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you have a, did you say you had a quote on that?
Yes, it should be in your packet.
Oh, it is?
It's, it was $15,414, and there's a whole packet here that I provided to Barbara with the budget. I don't know if she,
Oh, we haven't gotten that.
oh, you haven't?
If it's a warrant article, we
capital?
haven't gotten it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I would have copied this for you. I can make,
No, we'll get it later.
okay, all right, so yes, there is a quote, there's the description of what it covers, and like I said, this year, we've included the zoning bylaw and the general bylaw, because that was kind of the sticking point last year, is that the Finance Committee thought that it's a great idea, but if you're doing this, you should include more than just the zoning bylaw, so that we're keeping everything up to date. Because I think at that time, the general bylaw was less up to date than the zoning bylaw was, so.
Okay.
Does that also include what the annual maintenance, ongoing maintenance year after year will be?
It's all in the proposal, yes, it is.
All right, you want to go to your
To the budget?
line item budget?
Sure.
The town planner's on page 12.
So my first question is line 2, salaries and wages. You've had some change. You had somebody leave, and now you've had someone as recently as what, yesterday, start new with you? Janae?
Oh,
Well,
really?
no, so she'll probably start, I don't know, Jeff and I will work out a transition plan. I'm thinking maybe May to allow a replacement in that office, which is, I mean, I think I'm just as important, but I think for right now, that's a little more important when you have a new town administrator coming in.
I'm confused. So Janae is
Janae
moving to
bid
you?
on my opening.
Oh.
So, and under the personnel plan,
Oh.
internal candidates get first consideration if they're qualified.
I
So,
think I knew you had an opening.
I saw it last night on the
Oh,
yeah.
selectman meeting.
oh, okay.
Everyone was-
So what's happened? I didn't see
Janae
it.
is leaving the town administrator's office and going to work for planning.
Yes. So my admin left. She's the newest town planner in the town of Ware, and she started this past Monday. So we had advertised, and we were going to be hiring. And as you mentioned, Janae put in for the position, and I selected her. She was appointed last evening. So their pay scales were really the same.
Okay.
So it should stay consistent. As you know, we don't do the calculations for salaries. That's done through the finance department.
Right.
So Barbara may have a change for that, perhaps.
Yes, I'm not.
May not.
May not, because I think they were both at the same level in their salaries, or their hourly rate, I should say. And the longevity is just mine because my previous admin, Diane, used to receive longevity. She had been here long enough, but Janae has only, I believe, only been here maybe about a year, so.
Yeah.
So that longevity item will not be fulfilled, is what you're saying?
No,
Is
that
that
won't.
right?
No, that would be for
That's,
Jean.
The
Oh,
300
that's for you?
would stay.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, I thought you said it was for your admin who was leaving.
No, the
No, last
previous.
year it was for,
For both of us.
For
because
both.
Diane had been here
Taking
long enough.
18, it was.
Yes.
doesn't look like there's anything else that's,
Just the GIS, the web hosting and services, it looks like one went down and the other one up by the same amount, so they
did.
balance out, so.
So on our GIS web hosting, we used to have what was called a public and a private site. So the public site is what you or anyone else can go on at home through our website, and you can view the parcels and things. There was an internal site that was password protected and allowed staff to go in and view some layers that we don't put out for the public. For instance, since 9/11, we no longer put out our water lines or public wells or things like that on the GIS. So there was a way to access it through the web. It was a little cumbersome, and unless you really knew what you were doing, it wasn't too fruitful for trying to save your work, put it that way. So we have actually, ArcGIS has been making some advances, and they're really moving towards what's called ArcGIS Online. So what that is it enables us to take our tablets, an iPad, and we have all of our different layers. So I've shown you what the layers are before, whether it's roadways or parcels or manholes, fire hydrants, whatever it may be. And we can, through accessing it through the cloud with a username and password, staff can access it out in the field using the tablet. So this is a much more user-friendly way of gathering data. We can go out in the field with an iPad and stand by a hydrant, and we really kind of touch that point on the screen with our fingers, and it pulls up a drop-down menu that we've created, like a little app. We can fill in all the information about that hydrant, if it needs to be painted or whatever it may be. And so it just allows for much more functionality. And so we've slowly been getting other departments on board with using this. And so this year we started with the DPW, they're using it. We're using it in my office, the Conservation Commission is using it, the Water Department is using it. So we're really kind of expanding use of this. The fire department actually was using it as well. So with so many of us using this, it no longer made sense to pay for this private site, because the people that really needed to be able to access it can go right on the web now and see what we need to see, or use one of the tablets and go out into the field. So we have upped our GIS services to kind of compensate for that, because we are doing more and more work with the GIS. For those of you that have been on the committee for some time, you know that when I started here, our GIS was very minimal. And so over time, we've really made that a much more robust tool, and we're able to do a lot with it. So to do a lot with it means we need to expend a little more money each year as we're, for instance, before maybe we were just updating the tax maps and we were doing the zoning maps. Well, now we are, as I mentioned, doing fire hydrants. We have the capability of documenting potholes. I mean, it's kind of limitless once we all get up on board with this, and it can be a really valuable tool. So we are asking for an increase in that, so one kind of offset the other, really. Because I've reduced the web hosting down to 3,500 from 6,000, and I'm asking that the GIS services be increased to 17,000 from 14,500.
Any other questions for Jean on the town planner budget? Can I just ask a question from, I think it was last year's warrant? Where are we with the permitting software, the online, I forget exactly what it's called.
So we're this close.
Ah.
But we've been this close for 3 months. So we did have some, it's been a very, very long, cumbersome process. We were ready to start training, and the data that we had to receive from Vision, if you remember, I came for a transfer, that was kind of unexpected. Vision provided the data. After a few weeks, we sent it to Acela, and Acela didn't convert the data right away. Whether they were backlogged with other town projects, I'm not sure, but when they finally did, they found the data wasn't in the right format. So for the past 6 weeks, maybe, we've been waiting to get the data in the appropriate format from Vision. So Jeremy, our IT person, who's wonderful to have now, has been handling that and working with Vision to get that data. We expect it at pretty much any moment. Once we have that, it will get input into the system. We'll do a little more internal testing, and then we will be able to do our training for staff and go live.
Ah, good.
So we're getting there. We're just a few months behind.
Baby steps, right?
Right.
Any other questions on the planner budget? You like to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion.
Before you do that, so I don't have an objection to the motion. I don't have any concerns with the budget that you're going to make a motion on, but there's only 5 of us here. Do we want to hold this to another night in case missing members had a question, or at least give them an opportunity to weigh in?
We can always revote it. I'm okay.
Jane's going to have to come back with the warrant article, so you can
Yeah, I
make a
mean,
note.
I don't mind.
Really, I thought she
voting
gave
it.
a good description. We wouldn't need her for the warrant articles, but,
We're going to have them in front of us.
I mean, we still have to vote the warrant articles. but,
okay.
yeah.
I'm just saying, we're missing
Well, I think-
half the committee.
We might have 2 on.
Well, it's not half the committee, actually.
We do have a
Have a
quorum.
quorum.
We have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Time is short here.
I'll make a motion. The Finance Committee recommend to town meeting for the town planner line items, in the budget line items 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43, totaling $177,718.
Second. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead and second, Joni, but I don't think there has a longevity in it. I think that was one of the things that had to be added.
Oh, that's right.
so it was
But would-
added in the file?
It was added in the
Oh, it
file.
was? But so what is the
So
fund?
the
Is that the
amount
correct
would be
amount?
300
I'll start
more.
bringing my,
Plus
I'll start
300?
bringing my
300, yeah.
laptop
That's
if
what
you
I have a
want,
note on.
and I can pull it up.
No, we
So
just
that
need
would
the
make
final
it-
number.
It,
Oh,
it was?
total was
Yes.
correct.
Oh,
It
okay.
just
Oh,
didn't
oh.
have the line in there.
I have the corrected
Interesting.
file, I swear.
So the total is 177,718 then?
Super secret.
Oh, that's interesting, okay.
Yep. If I look at the detail sheet we have, it's 177,718. Yep.
Oh, and that
Includes-
was in there.
There
includes
were
the
just a couple of
longevity.
adjustments that she made to
Okay.
the file,
Oh,
that she
okay.
talked about on Saturday.
All right, so it's 177,718. We have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Thank you.
And we might as well vote on zoning, Board of Appeals.
Yes, of the ZBA, yep, which is the next year.
I'll make a motion. Finance
Oh, wait a minute, we
Committee.
haven't even talked about it yet. Is there anything to talk about?
Nothing's changed.
Let's talk about it
Okay.
first. Jim?
Sure.
Okay, that's page 13 of the detail.
It's one number and it's gone down.
You're right.
Why is it going down?
Because we
Office
moved
supplies are gone.
the office supplies into the planning, into
Oh.
the town planner budget.
That's what I figured, the same amount
Yeah.
rolled into planning.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of silly, like, oh, shall I count the folders that I used for ZBA this year? So actually Barbara suggested it, and it really made a
Ah.
lot of sense. So we did that this year, and otherwise it stayed the same.
All right, then. Now you can make the motion, Jim.
So I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend to town meeting the budget for the Zoning Board of Appeals, line items 44, 45, and 46, totaling $590.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
You have
I thought I
betterment,
was
don't you?
done.
No.
Oh, betterment,
Betterment.
okay.
Hey, this is a hopefully a one-time thing. What do you, you have,
I just have my annual request for the Commercial Tourist District, streetscape improvements and wayfinding.
That's just the one, the 15,978?
That's
That's it? Oh, thought you had more, I guess.
No.
So what's going on with those wayfinding streetscapes improvements?
So you've probably noticed that we've installed a lot of the signs, and actually this winter we did some more. We replaced the Historic District signs over the winter. We did a new sign for the library. We did a new sign for the Recreation Center. And we have investigated some solar lights to put on some of them, because some of the feedback we got is that some of them aren't really visible in the evening. And if you're trying to direct people to things, it makes sense that you can see it. But in most of these locations, we have no electricity, so we have purchased some solar packs that we're going to try installing on some of them. And
So like, for example, the one in front of the white, Oliver White?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that one there, we're going to try that. And so we continue to move forward. We've put a lot of signs directing people to the trails, to Old Sturbridge Village, we put up just kind of a general campground directional sign. So we are kind of chipping away at that master list, doing about $6,000 or more each year in the signage. And we really need to know where we're going with the commercial tourist district plans. So this past year, the selectmen asked me to investigate the possibility, or what the cost would be to underground the utilities, as you know. And that, so I did obtain the quotes, and the article was not supported. So I think really now we need to have another discussion with the Board of Selectmen to see, are we going to try to go forward with that plan with just moving the poles where possible? And, will that give us enough room to create the sidewalks? And we did talk about doing the plantings over on 8 Brookfield Road. And again, that was kind of up in the air because the Board of Selectmen weren't entirely sure what they were going to do with 8 Brookfield Road. So I believe they've decided to retain that now. So I think this at least will, if nothing else, do some annuals in front of those signs, and we'll start to kind of chip away and make more progress at that.
So is the STA funding any of this as well?
So the STA did fund
So this is
some of
you're
the,
using up so it was encumbered from previous years?
it was, and yes, so we've used that last year with the first round of signs. We spent quite a bit on the signage, so I used up that funding to do that.
Do you know how much money approximately?
Offhand, I could not tell you, but I could look it up and email it to you.
I'd be curious to know how
Sure.
much was spent.
Yes, yeah, sure.
Or approved to spend, I should say.
Okay.
Because it was STA and then betterment. I
Right, so
guess.
STA paid for, if you remember, the consultant,
Yeah.
Favorman, so STA funded that. And then the remainder went toward the implementation of the first round of signs.
Mhm.
And then we've been funding out of Betterment as well. But I can
So-
send you a breakdown on that.
So out of the initial consultation and the initial set of signage, I'm assuming they've been paid for? That's been
Yes.
paid for?
Yes.
I want to say it was like in the 50s. Wasn't it around 52, 55 grand or something like that?
I don't think it was quite that much, but
You
I
don't?
will, offhand, I couldn't,
Okay.
I don't remember, it was a few years ago now.
Was.
So let me look it up and send it to you. I'd rather
Okay,
look
that'd
it
be
up
great.
instead of giving you incorrect information, so.
So other than signs and sidewalks and moving utilities around, are there other efforts ongoing to encourage some development and reuse of some of the properties in that district? I see some buildings that are a little underutilized, maybe could use a little investment, a little care from some new owners, and an overall vision for, what we'd like that district to be doing, and how are we out there marketing that and trying to get people to invest, and then maybe that kind of drives some of these improvements as well as part of their investment.
So we've actually done quite a bit. So if you look at the past several years of the zoning changes that we've made to the bylaw, much of that was focused on the commercial tourist district. So one of the major things that we did is we reduced the lot size from 1 acre to 10,000 square feet. So what that did is it made 3/4 of the lots in the commercial tourist district conforming. So they no longer have to jump through that double hoop of, I'm non-conforming, so I need to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then when I'm done, I need to go to design review and planning. So now the majority of the lots in that district do comply. We reduce the frontage requirements, the setbacks, and the lot size to do that. We've expanded areas that can be used for shared parking. It's basically limitless in the commercial tourist district. And we have given the planning board more flexibility in terms of parking size requirements. So instead of the 10 by 20, recognizing the limits of the district, they can use 9 by 18. They can approve compact car parking spaces as well. So we've really kind of scrutinized the whole district and our zoning bylaw, and everywhere possible that we could make a change to make it easier for people to redevelop in the district, we have. And we've been trying to work with people like Table 3 to find ways where they can add some desperately needed parking, and which is why the board supported the rezoning that came forward from that conversation as well. So we've really been trying to work. Kevin Filchak is really good about keeping a database of available properties. I think if you ride through the district, you'll see that while we have a few vacancies, it's nowhere near what it has been in years past. It's really pretty full, and Kevin and I have talked about, and actually with Leon when he was here, a facade improvement program. So I know Kevin is looking to try to get something off the ground with that as well, where if maybe there's some kind of incentive for people making certain improvements in the district to improve their properties or beautify their properties. And I know with his, business advisory group, he's been, trying to encourage businesses to work together and for businesses to take the lead with some of these things. I think if you look at some of the most successful communities that have business improvement districts, it's the businesses themselves that are really working to try to enhance how their properties look. I think back years ago when Pan Mass Challenge came in, people decorated all the bikes with the flowers and signs in front of their property. So I think the businesses have to be an equal partner with the town in trying to make some of these things come to fruition. Short answer to a big, long question, so I hope that answered your question.
Short question with a long answer, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jean.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jean.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
You too, thanks.
Right.
Next up is Barbara with. Oh, okay. I thought he was just here because he felt like it. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So basically, the only real change to my budget this year is the addition of a tuition reimbursement line. I'm in the process of looking into graduate programs, so I'll be hopefully accepted into one and then applying for the $2,500 that's allowed for reimbursement through the personnel policy. I've been participating in the local government leadership and management program, and with the completion of that program, you can transfer 6 credits to a graduate program. So I'll be doing that and then continuing on with that degree. So,
Graduate program in what discipline?
Master's in Public Administration. Yep.
Was that the same program that Barbara went through a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Whenever it was?
Yep. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's going well.
Oh, you're still in that one?
Yeah, it ends in May. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, yep. Yep, it's good. You can actually transfer
That's
12
through Suffolk,
credits.
isn't it? Or-
Yep, it's through Suffolk, yeah. If you were to continue your master's in public administration through Suffolk, you could
Oh.
transfer 12 credits of it. But you would have to do it full-time, and you'd have to
Oh,
be in Boston, which
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
little
intend
far.
on doing, so.
You can do the rest online? Is that what it is?
Oh, there's
No,
other.
you
They have
actually
satellite
don't,
campuses?
they don't have an online program through Suffolk, so I'll have to transfer just 6 credits of it to a different program.
But other schools have, I think Clark has one, right? And
Yep,
others
yep,
that
Clark's
have-
one, and Westfield State I'll be looking into
Yeah.
as well, yep.
Easier than Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think?
Yes, definitely, anything. Okay, any other questions on Chris's department? Otherwise, it looks pretty much
Yeah, it looks pretty.
level funded.
I don't have any questions.
And was that yours too?
No.
Oh,
Oh, whose is it?
I don't know. I have that somewhere.
I wrote it down.
I don't think it was.
It's Jared's.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't hear from him, maybe he
Shall
was
we
late.
wait, I guess?
No, we don't have to wait.
Do you want, do you want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
If you want, I'm looking for it right now.
I will make a motion to accept the town accountant's budget from lines 11, 12, 13, 14 for a total of $96,847.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Now we're 6-0. Okay, thank you. Now Barbara's going to come.
Good luck with school.
Thank you very much.
You thought we were going to scare him, didn't you?
I did, I came for protection, yes. So this is Jeremy Jalbert, he's our IT specialist. I don't think you have all met him yet.
No.
But this is, since this is his first time coming before the FinCom, I thought I would come with him and introduce him and just help him through. Jeremy's been with us since, is it September? September.
Oh.
So just about a little over 6 months, and we are happy to have him, as are all the departments.
You're especially, I'm sure, happy to
I
have
am
him.
very happy, yes,
One less hat you have to wear.
yes.
And Jean had my praises before me, so that was nice. I don't even know if she was in the audience, but
I don't think she did know you were there, so
I don't
that's
think
good,
so.
right?
So that was nice.
So Jeremy can answer any questions you have on the IT budget.
So before you get into the budget, since you've been here, what are the issues that you're having to address? I know Barbara felt overwhelmed with every little problem that seemed everyone went to her to solve. What issues you're running into? What's the condition of our systems here?
It's actually really good. It's newer. Tantascwa did a great job ordering. A lot of servers have been upgraded, so the infrastructure is very good. So that was good. I think it's mainly there's just a lot of little things going on that is pretty much or put a Band-Aid on or something to that effect where you're putting out fires instead of staying up to date. So there's a lot going on at the police station, fire station. A lot of software, a lot of programs. So that's a lot of work. But it's mainly help desk stuff that's going on and fixing printers and logins and new computers. And we just put new servers in at the police station, so those have to get up and running. So a lot of projects going on, and a couple of things on the budget with help desk and antivirus. So those are kind of the problems where that's why they're on the budget. And then we rewired the public safety complex also. That was a big project I walked into.
Oh, right.
That was a huge rewire project. That was very interesting and went really well.
What was that for?
Public safety complex, we rewired the whole building for data communications, not for the electrical, just data.
Right.
So a lot of the wires, the computer wires had just been pulled, some by staff.
Yes.
There was a lot of loose connections, things weren't properly done,
Right.
and so we had made the commitment in last year's budget, or this year's budget, fiscal, depending which way you want to say it, but 19, to bring someone in to rewire the entire building, and so that was done. But that was a huge project that Jeremy undertook pretty much right when he got here.
Yes.
And then the server project was also a big project.
Right.
And now he's been concentrating. There is, I mean, things are going really well, but there are a lot of things that happen on a daily basis. As he said, there is a lot of equipment at the public safety complex, you know, not just in the building, but in the cruisers, in the ambulances, and he's also working closely with the land use division, with Gene, on the permitting software project. So that's taken a lot of his time also, between working with Gene and working with Ann Murphy, the assessor, to try to get the data coordinated between the assessor's data and the permitting software data. So, like I said, lots going on, but we're making progress. And one of the goals that we had set for Jeremy was to implement a help desk, which basically there's an icon on everybody's desktop. So if they have a computer issue, basically they just log into the help desk and they're able to you know, contact Jeremy through that help desk of what the issue is. But the good thing about it also is, you know, when I was dealing with everything, people were just emailing me and I was sending the emails off to Tantascwa. Jeremy can actually track who's logging the issues and also what the issues are, so that we can use that information moving forward for budgeting purposes if there's certain issues that are repeat issues. And also, I think it would be a good tool also if we have certain departments or individuals that are continuing having the same type of issues. You know, we can look at maybe whether they need some training, depending on what the issue is. So I think there's a lot of things, but I mean, he's been here 6 months, so he's kind of in the doing things that other people kind of put in place. And I think, you know, another probably 3 to 6 months, he'll be able to kind of more put his, you know, his own fingerprint on things as we move forward. And, you know, he did come forward with some items in the current budget. And one of them was antivirus software, which is $5,000. You can talk to that because I don't know the specifics, but.
Yeah, so pretty much we have the firewall that blocks all the programs. Our main defense is a firewall and pretty much not giving administrative rights to all the employees. But our antivirus is definitely lacking. We have some free software with Avast or Windows Security Essentials, but we don't have anything that's dedicated that I can actually centrally manage. So with Sophos, I'll be able to centrally manage everything. All the alerts will come in. And it's great for ransomware or anything like that, that pretty much if there is something going on, there's a crypto guard where it'll shut down that computer and not let it spread throughout the network. And these times you definitely need some kind of antivirus, because I don't want to be on the Channel 7 News because I infected the whole town.
And then the other issue, which I think I had highlighted in the budget message, was with the Windows 7 to 10 upgrades, we are in the need of purchasing more computers next year than we normally do, but we're going to try to extend the life. Usually we're replacing those computers in 5-year intervals, but Jeremy and I have discussed, there are some computers that aren't as high-use computers that we may be able to extend out another year. We'll have to look at that, but hopefully so that we can then kind of push things back out so that we have a more reasonable budget each year. We are able to do the Windows 7 to Windows 10, I think it's like $200
Yes.
upgrade, which we will be doing on some of the newer computers.
They're not going to support 7 much longer, are they?
No.
No, not January 2020 is the last day they'll be supporting it. So we're trying to get all our computers up to Windows 10 by then. And we have about 28 computers that we want to replace.
And we will be, I mean, with the budget that we've presented, we will be able to meet
Yes.
that deadline. And that will be, you know, come July 1st, that will be the number one priority for Jeremy at the beginning of the fiscal year, is to make sure that he gets all the computers replaced before we hit that date.
I'm sorry.
Oh, do you foresee having the IT support with Tantascwa continuing, or will that eventually get phased out?
So I think that, I don't foresee it ever getting phased out completely because we want to make sure that we continue the relationship. So if Jeremy takes a vacation, things are still going to happen. We're going to need them. And they've been really good as a partner. They also have reached out to Jeremy so that when they're having staff meetings and different things, they give an opportunity for him to go. I mean, he's a department of one. So he can go out and network with them, and if Greg Rosso, who was really instrumental in the work that was being done here, you know, he can share different things with Jeremy. This server that was installed at the Public Safety Complex, for instance, I believe Tantascwa staff actually came and participated in the installation because
Yes.
they were interested in what was ordered, and again, you have to speak to that, because I don't know the details about that part.
Yeah, it's just a very interesting software. It's nice just to see it implemented and started up, so one of the guys from Tantascwa came over just to watch and just see. It's a Nutanix program and a server. It's very nice, very interesting.
And then we're also still, for a lot of our needs, we still are able to use Tantascwa, the students, to come and do some things.
Oh.
And, I mean, that relationship was, I feel like it was really developed when we were using Tantascwa for our IT needs. So we definitely want that to continue because, you know, it's a great opportunity for the students, but it also provides us with free labor, which is nice. We only have to pay for the materials that they need. And they're going to be doing a project in the upcoming months at the library. They're going to be rewiring the library and moving some of the equipment that's actually right behind the library director's desk right now into the basement. So
It's a great
that's
experience for
yeah.
those kids.
It is. So, and right now it's not set up correctly, so they'll see the right way to set it up. Everything we've moved in the basement, there'll be a punch panel, a rack, all the switches will be hung, so they'll be able to see all that.
Great, great.
Your kids in every grade or just seniors?
I think it's mainly just juniors and seniors.
But they all come in. There's usually, I would say 12 to 15 of them maybe when they
Yes.
come.
What
And
program, or is it just a mix?
that's
They
the
have a
electrical
computer.
program, right?
Yeah,
Don't they?
I don't remember what it was. It's with Noel.
No Lamar. I think it's the electrical program.
Oh, it's electrical?
I think so.
I thought they had something with
Well, they
computer.
have CAD.
They have
right?
CAD, yeah.
Yeah, that's more machines.
Yeah, well, not programming, not operating, they're pulling wire and making terminations, which is for that program, so it makes more sense to be from the electrical side.
Yeah.
Doing the work. So you're still carrying some funds for Tantascwa support. Are we still using them, or is that just there in case we need them, and we got Jeremy doing all the work? And may not necessarily need any support from Tantascwa.
We have them just in case we need them. There's still a lot of infrastructure here with the Cisco phones and the Cisco server and the Cisco switches. If I can spend a couple hours trying to get it going, or I can give them a call and they maybe get it going in 10 minutes. So something like that, and I can bounce ideas off of them.
And we might be able to, I want to carry that number going forward for fiscal '20, and then when we go through another year, if we find we're not using that amount of money, then I'll definitely revisit it for 2021.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
I'll just get picky. I noticed this is the only sheet in a detail book where the fiscal year
yeah,
at the
it does
top
say.
are off.
Oh,
Yeah, it does say that, you're right.
thank you, yes. I actually make a mistake every year and see who finds it.
All right, I win, I can go home, thanks.
Is there a prize? I would have looked harder.
Well, the only way you find out if there's a prize is if you're the one that finds it. so.
So you might have
Well, in
something.
Betterment, we have fiscal year 9 right here.
Oh, my.
Wow.
And let's not get
Really,
real,
guys?
let's not get so picky.
Where is that?
Right after the Betterment Committee, it says fiscal year 2020 budget, and the end of that there's 3 sentences. Available Betterment
Oh,
funds
yeah.
in fiscal year 9.
FY9.
Yep. What can
So
say?
I saw that the other day, and he just reminded me, otherwise I wouldn't have remembered, so.
All right, enough now.
I just have a couple of questions, and I just broke my glasses. Will you be you know, I know you're helping with the planner on the GIS and clearly a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the town that is needed. Will you, and you mentioned that you do the, you help out with the upgrades on the cruisers. So do you do additional stuff to the safety complex, such as the computers in the cruisers and any of those other
Yes, anything.
things that they have
Anything
there?
and everything from the public safety complex, fire department, police department, senior center, library, center office building, everything.
Wow.
DPW.
Oh, right.
Fiber optic everywhere now.
Not everywhere. We're getting there.
And then so the antivirus software, then, that is, clearly it's going to go to all the computers. Will it include
All the computers, all the servers, everything.
cruisers and
in-
everything else, like all that stuff?
Correct.
So $5,000, while it seems like a large number, when you think of all the computers and whatnot, it really
Yeah,
isn't.
it can go from 100 to, I think we got the 100 to 150 users. So it'll cover everybody.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Hard to believe that we haven't had that.
Well, I mean, it's been protected in other ways,
Yeah.
but Jeremy just has a different idea, and so he's here now, so I'm going to
Right.
trust that, what he wants to do. But it's not, you know, don't walk away thinking that our systems have not been protected.
Oh, no.
They are definitely protected.
Well, I do remember an emergency server or something a
That
few
was, what,
years ago.
2 years ago?
Right.
When everything crashed, remember? At budget time?
That was, yeah, we had
I think
I know
that
it
was 2
was
years ago. 2 or 3.
Unfortunate, and
we have a lot of redundancy now, so that won't be happening again.
Jeremy, is that $5,000, is that the fee for it every year, or is that?
Correct.
that's
That'll
the
be
fee for
yearly.
it every year?
oh, so we'll see that line item every year.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It can go down if we get 3 years.
I see.
That's true, sometimes you get multi-year.
I think if you get 3 years, you get the 4th year free, something to that effect. So it may be 12 grand for 3 years, something like that.
That includes all upgrades.
Any other questions? Again, I think that was Jared. So would
It is
somebody
Jared's.
like to make the motion for lines 24 through 27?
Does somebody,
Okay, I'll make the motion. Finance Committee recommends to town meeting that we approve the budget for information technologies lines 24, 25, 26, and 27, totaling $184,781.
a second? Oh, Bruce seconds?
Bruce?
Any further discussion? All in favor? That's 6-0. All right, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
you.
It was nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting you. Okay, turn the spotlight on.
So I thought basically we could go through pretty much all the budgets that you didn't have specific department heads coming in for.
Excellent.
Most of them are level funded, so it should move pretty quickly.
All right, well, we could start with your budget.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just going by my little list here. Oh, we did the accountant already, so. Let's see, that's page 6 of the,
6?
6 of the finance
Detail.
director, of the detail.
So there's really no changes. Everything's pretty much level.
So, Barbara, the certification stipend, is that, how long does that continue? That continues, like,
As long as I have the certification.
but do we have to keep it as a separate line item all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't know if it was going to get melded, I mean.
It doesn't get figured into the salary, so it's just a flat stipend amount. So if it got put in with the salary, then like COLA and stuff would end up getting added on that, and that's not the intent. So if you remember, we actually accepted a section of Mass General Law for the town clerk and the treasurer collector for
Right.
certification.
Right.
And it's $1,000. So at this point in time, I'm the only one that has it. The town clerk did at one point, but Lynn hasn't been in office enough to
Right.
take the exam, and
What is continuing disclosure?
Continuing disclosure is basically, we are required every year in January to update all our financial information, and we have to put out a report that basically goes to the rating agencies.
Okay.
And the bank does charge for assisting putting that together. And our financial advisor was Eastern Bank, and they basically left the marketplace for financial advisory services. So I switched to Unibank, and that is actually the only increase in the budget. They charge actually $500 more than the previous bank did. So the only time it's less money is if you do a bond issue, like within a certain month's time period, you can use that, but we will need to do that going forward. But other than that, everything's level.
I don't have any questions.
Any other questions?
Who has Barbara?
It was Jared.
Oh, that's also Jared? Do you want to do them as we go through them?
That's line items.
So,
Let's see, where is that? What line items are they? Do we have that?
19 and 22.
so I'll make a
Oh.
motion to accept Finance Director budget lines 19, 20, 21, and 22 for a total of $262,069.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0, thank you. Let's see, the next one is,
Town
we
council.
did the accountant.
Yep.
Yep, town council is the next page if you want to.
Yeah, why don't we can go in order. It doesn't really matter what
The
order I
pages,
put
yeah.
them. Town council
So
is,
that's level funded, and that's based on historic spending.
No questions on that, right?
do we ever look at other law firms?
I don't believe so.
Just wondering.
They're
We don't
pretty-
have anything that's currently pending with the town. Like, remember a few years we had the sanitary issue and, or whatever that was down at the Board of Health. There's nothing pending like that that would make it go up.
I mean, there's always
Always
cases
something.
that are being,
But there's nothing like high visibility like that was. Is there?
don't know.
Okay.
When we were having the issue with the landfill, who was the Board of Health using for
It
counsel?
wasn't, it
wasn't
wasn't
them.
KP Law, because I believe.
I think they had a conflict.
Southbridge it's Southbridge, right? Yeah, so Southbridge had KP Law, so yes, it was a different company.
But we actually, was that a warrant article, or we had an RFP to
Yeah,
help fund
there-
that? Or a special town meeting?
We did
article?
get money at special town meeting
Yeah.
for that. I think that we had a couple times, I think we supplemented it once with additional money.
Right.
Does anyone know if there's anything further going on with that right now?
I haven't
For
heard.
us, for our town?
I have not heard anything in a while. I haven't seen any bills come across for it, but I can't speak to whether or not
been
there's still
quiet.
something going on.
It has been quiet. Yeah,
They
I
settled
know.
with Charlton, I mean, the infrastructure's in the ground now
Oh,
for the water, for Charlton.
Well, there was the whole, there is, you're aware about the whole issue with the water on McGilpin Road.
I mean, are they still
Yeah,
doing all
that's
the
why- that's
testing?
why I was
DEP?
asking.
I'm not sure, because I'm not involved in that.
Maybe
but-
it'd be a good question to ask when Board of Health
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
If we can ever find them.
I haven't heard back from her, so
Yeah.
I've turned it over to you.
Oh, we did?
I did.
I'm glad to know that. So any other questions on town council? That's just line item 23, like.
So I'll make a motion that we recommend town meeting approval of the town council budget, line 23, for $100,000.
Is there a second?
Sure. Yes.
Mike Hager. Any further discussion? All in favor? Right, let's see. What do we have next?
So we have facilities. 15?
Yes, facilities. Facilities, yes.
So in the facilities budget, we have added a third custodian. That was something that all managers of buildings were all in agreement that that was something that was definitely needed. The town buildings are open more hours than we had sufficient staff for covering, and particularly the public safety complex and the library, we're seeing the effects of that. So we think by adding a third custodian that will definitely alleviate that issue, and it will also, one of the concerns, or one of the areas of concern that we have is when, if we have a custodian who's on vacation, we have nobody to cover. And so, you know, these are part-time positions. One of the custodians has another job. There's only so many hours. I mean, if someone's part-time, they don't want a full-time job. So that has been an issue over the past several months. We've made it work, but really the way we made it work was the facilities manager was actually covering for the custodians. And now we don't have a facilities manager, so that position is currently vacant.
Oh, really?
That was one of my
That's
questions.
been advertised, though. I saw
Yeah.
it
It was
somewhere.
advertised, and it was actually re-advertised.
Oh, was it?
And I'm not sure, I'm not
She was
sure.
very
when-
good.
She was very good. She actually moved over to public safety, and she is a dispatcher now. So we are hoping to fill that position soon, because it is presenting a void. But we basically have just reverted back to the way it used to be with, you know, individual department heads dealing with the building issues.
Well, how many custodians do you not, you have 2 right now, right?
Right. Well, so not the cleaning, but all the other issues that the facilities manager was dealing with. Yeah.
Now, who is the training for? That's a new one.
So the training was for the facilities manager. It was to take a couple of the procurement courses. And I think regardless of the fact that the position is vacant at this point in time, that is going to be an important component for the new person to also have under their belt.
Barbara, how many hours was that position?
40,
So it was full.
That was full-time, yeah.
So this 52,000 is for 40 hours?
it is.
That's not going to be an easy job to fill.
It might not be, and this was the same discussion that we had last year. I remember when I came with Leon. We might have to revisit it. I mean, Jeff's here tonight, but, I mean, literally, today's his second day, and I really haven't had an opportunity to sit down, and we're going to talk about budget, I think, on Thursday. But we'll have to look at what we get for a pool of candidates on the second round, and we might have to regroup on this a little bit.
And I know you have a job description for that, and in my mind, you know, if this is the handyman who go around and fix all things, you know, that's one level of service. On the other hand, to the extent that they can see the bigger picture and get a better feel for all the maintenance that needs to take place and when it has to take place, and make sure that we're following that, I'll call it an asset management type schedule, I think we end up in a better spot long-term versus, let me just fix the problem I have here this week, or kind of
The
thing, so.
intent, yeah, the intent was not that it was a handyman position. It was, but it was also, the intent was that if, you know, if a light bulb needed to be changed, or a battery in, you know, a toilet or a sink, you know, that those type of things could be done by this individual without having to call a plumber in.
Right.
It is the, you know, the goal was to basically, and this was starting to be done, and it's unfortunate that the person moved on, but basically to, you know, to get an overall picture of each of the facilities, to try to consolidate some of the services so that they were all under one person, instead of one building uses one plumber, one building uses a different electrician, et cetera. And then, you know, basically to have a schedule so that, you know, elevator repair is always, or elevator inspection is always this time of year, and, you know, rug cleaning and window cleaning and roof inspection of the slate roofs, and to get just you know, everything on a schedule. And so that is where it was headed. And then, you know, the bigger picture too is, you know, so when something happens, if there's, you know, damage done to one of the buildings, an insurance claim needs to be filed, that person will basically start from start to finish with the insurance claim and get the repair taken care of. So, you know, that is the intent of the position.
I think the person who had it before was doing a good job at that.
Absolutely. But
it's unfortunate.
stuff happens.
Glad she's happy with whatever role she's moved
Absolutely.
into, but big void in that position.
Good for her, bad for us,
Yeah.
yes. So other than that, you know, there's not much in this budget.
Bruce, I think that was your category, so would you like to make the motion?
Where is that? Where is that?
It's 50 through 53.
Okay, yep.
Or is she looking for help on the motion?
I don't know.
Motion that we accept lines 50, 51, 52, 53 as written, $104,171.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, 6-0.
Moving
The
right
next
along.
one is what, the town hall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
So, again, this budget is mostly level, with the exception of, we've added some money for interior, exterior maintenance of $4,000. And the building was renovated recently. There are some signs of use, and so we want to be able to make repairs and touch-ups to paint and different things as they are necessary. And then we added chair cleaning for $1,325. We'd had an indoor air quality study done at the library, and one of the things that came out of that study was cleaning of upholstery. And so I'm not sure if it's 6 years or 7 years we're going on that we're back into this building. But basically, I mean, all like the chairs you're sitting in and that are, you know, in the office chairs throughout the building at Cobb. There's money in the center office building budget also. You'll see money in the library budget. It was called out that those type of things should be cleaned periodically, and since it was just called out recently, we decided this is the perfect time to just add the money to the budget and get that done.
They've never been cleaned before?
They haven't.
Okay.
Things you take for granted.
Here, I'll bring a seat cover.
So I noticed your oil, if I'm reading this right, yeah, your oil line item is level funded, yet for the safety complex, there's a bit of an increase. Is there usage gone up, or is it, I thought we got a new contract at a higher rate.
So the contract amount is year to year. So we will, I don't know what that bid price will be yet. I would guess, I'd have to look back, but for public safety, their usage probably went up, and so that's why the price went up. And the other budgets are running right about where they should be. When I looked at budgets, I factored $2.75 a gallon as the amount. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but that's the figure I used.
So you're in a
Seems
ballpark today.
reasonable, yeah.
You budget that and we do the market. We don't take contracts. We just
We have no, we actually go out to bid, so
Okay.
we go out to bid through Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, and they do a bid with other communities, and we fall under that
So she'll get
collaborative.
a fixed price contract for the year.
We will, but it doesn't, we have not gone out to bid yet for
Right.
that.
So she's assuming that the price will be $275 or less.
Or
when she
less,
set
I'm
the
hoping
budget.
less, obviously, but, I mean, based on current market,
Current market's below that.
It is.
it
Not
is.
by a lot, though.
Not by a lot.
They can float 25 to 50 cents in a month.
Right.
Safety complex isn't in the same contract?
They will be now. They were not, we were actually bidding that through the school because they have a large tank, but apparently the tank is not large enough, and so we were paying a different rate, so we just decided it would be easier to just keep all the town buildings under one bid.
Any other questions on the?
The interior, exterior maintenance, I know we talked, this came up before, you can't do it every year, but how often, I know we wash the windows on all the town buildings.
Every other year.
External, every other year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is actually in a different section of the budget.
Okay.
But this is, you notice like if you're downstairs, like the counters, all three counters downstairs, there's, you know, the paint is peeling off. You know, we did the doors recently, but I'm sure if you look on, like where you're sitting, there's wear and tear there. So it's those kind of things. And then whatever else comes up during the course of the year. But we really weren't budgeting enough for those type of things. And it's minor, $4,000.
Even around the house, there's odds and ends of maintenance, things you can plan and the unplanned, and you need to set
Exactly.
aside a budget for each facility
Right.
for those ongoing things. Otherwise, you're just running it into the ground.
Well, it's true, and even chairs occasionally need replacing or whatever, and
It's a lot of chairs.
there are a lot of chairs, but yeah,
Gotta do it.
Is this
It's a health
close
issue.
or up for grabs?
well, it's up for grabs, so small.
How about I make a motion that we recommend the town meeting approve the town hall budget line items 54 and 55 in the amount of $48,215.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. And then we might as well go right to the center office building. It's page 17 on the,
So
on our
there-
detail.
minor adjustments to some of the line items, but again, new items that you'll see, chair cleaning for center office building also. Repair to the exterior insulation of the chiller.
What is that?
The chiller is the HVAC unit, and I believe that the insulation needs to be replaced. And then interior insulation of HVAC, again, insulation needs to be replaced. And then we added $4,000 also for interior, exterior maintenance.
Is the interior, exterior maintenance that's being worked into these budgets going to be something that we see annually now to address these issues?
I think so, and I wish I had a better answer. I mean, you know, Ashley was the one that moved those numbers forward, and I think she probably had some specifics in mind that I'm not totally aware of. But like I said, there's always small things that come up, and a lot of times we're like, oh, you know, we'll have to wait till June and see if we've got some extra money in some of the line items. And I'd rather be able to be proactive instead of waiting and hoping that we have extra money, or we'd come back to the reserve fund. But yeah, I would guess yes. And then the repair, the insulation issues with the chiller and the HVAC, as you know, we've had ongoing issues with the HVAC since we moved back into these buildings. Luckily, it hasn't been bad this winter. We seem to have gotten things under control. But these are two things that had been pointed out by the companies that needed to be done, and so we're going to move forward with those repairs.
Didn't we go to one single contractor?
We did change, we changed companies, actually.
Remember the name?
We are using,
Is it C
CNC Temp Control, I believe, is who we switched to. We were using CAM.
No, the one you just mentioned.
Yeah, we switched over
They have a good reputation.
in the past, I would say, maybe 6 months or less, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So to move this along, I'll make a motion that we recommend, Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve center office building budget line items 56 and 57 totaling $43,110.
For a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Thank you. And let's see. What is next?
Doing the senior center building?
Senior
Is that someone else?
Heather's going to be coming, so she should be
No,
able
that's
to
not in
speak
here.
to that.
Okay.
Nursery school.
And the library would be the same, right?
Yeah,
And
Becky can
safety
speak to
complex.
that.
So nursery school and
The
Nursery
sealer
school
of
is-
weights and measures, don't we farm that out?
We do.
Yeah.
we haven't gotten it.
Okay, well, just asking a
Were we
question.
were we just gonna make a, there's no update on, I mean, nothing new to nursery school, right?
No, it's level, $2,000.
I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve the nursery school line item 64 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 6-0.
And how about 8 Brookfield Road as well?
Yep, again, level.
But what's that?
there's
what's the
something new there.
Yeah.
Let's see where,
Supplies.
Oh, yes. Gotta look that up. But yes, there's a reason, sorry. I don't remember.
the supplies for repairs here.
I might have called it out in the,
Where is this? On the detail on page 22, it says supplies for repairs. Otherwise, it was
Yep,
like a fund.
she's looking up the
I'll
extra.
tell you in a sec. I can't remember them all.
That building must be winterized because it's
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Whoa.
So 8 Brookfield Road, additional funds have been requested. Oh, no, that's purchase of service. Actually, let me get back to you on that one, if you want to hold it. So I think the $350 was supposed to go into the nursery school.
Oh,
Let me look into that. So you want, if you just want to hold,
Move on.
yeah, we can move on.
yeah, let me look into that.
Okay.
So we
And,
potentially might have to revote nursery.
Yeah.
Yep, we can
Yeah.
fix that. So I know this isn't your role as finance director, but this is a building's been sitting around, we're kind of looking for long-term direction, so it'd be nice for the town administrator, once he gets up to speed, or whoever is spearheading that, to kind of give us an update as to where it's going, what its potential uses are, whether it's, yeah, and there may be some other departments who might want to use it for one reason or other without having to do any
So I know that
Expensive
I know the Board of
rehabilitations.
Selectmen were looking into feasibility studies for the different buildings. I'm not sure where that stands, but I think that's something that came up at the end of last year's budget talks, or maybe the beginning, and I had indicated that, you know, those kind of issues, I mean, you know, I think it was Kevin who was asking, you know, well, where do all these things stand? And I suggested maybe you guys, you know, have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen if you're, you know, if you're looking to know what the thought process is. But, yeah, you know, I can discuss with Jeff, you know, those issues too with the different buildings. But there's definitely feasibility studies. There's a lot of buildings being looked into, and I don't know at this point in time what the greater plan is for that building.
Yep.
Okay.
I apologize for leaving, I have to be the plumber.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't miss that.
No, definitely not. So we're going to hold the.
Yeah, I just want to, I want to look into that a little bit more and make sure that the numbers are not in the wrong budget.
Sealer weights and measures on 26, is that the next one for you?
So the sealer is a contract we have with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and it's a flat rate every single year. We've had that in place for several years, and it seems to be working fine.
It's just the person that goes around like to all the gas stations and
Yes.
checks the
Right.
pumps.
And it's not just gas stations, though. I
Yeah.
think it's supermarkets.
I think it's anything that has a
Everything has
scale.
a scale or
Yeah.
a measuring, yeah. Who did that in Southbridge? That was Lefty Varon for years.
I'll make
Oh, is
a,
it? I don't know, might have been.
Yeah.
Make a motion,
I'll
Mark?
make a motion that Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve the sealer weights and measures line item 79 in the amount of $5,350.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 6-0. All right, let's see the next one.
Veterans agent. Page 35.
Oh, is that you, Bruce? Oh, yeah. Oh, Veteran Services.
So this budget is level funded with the exception of, we had increased the hours of the veterans agent to 10 hours per week. It does remain a stipended position, though.
We did that at special town meeting, didn't we?
No, you actually did a reserve fund transfer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now, we have a new agent, right?
we do.
And who is it?
Michael Strupa. I did not ask him to come.
Oh,
I didn't think
No,
there
I
was
just
really
didn't want to
anything
put his
worth,
name
yeah.
on.
What's his last name?
Strupa, S-T-R-U-P-P-A, I believe.
That's like 10 hours a week or something like
10
that.
hours a week, yeah.
I'll make a motion that Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve the Veteran Services line items 112 through 118, totaling $65,457.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Okay, let's see, what's next?
So Historical Commission is another budget that's just level funded. I did not ask the Historical Commission chair to come in. I didn't think that was necessary.
Are they still doing, weren't they doing some surveys or something?
Yes. Yeah, I believe that's ongoing. They're also, one of the projects that I know they're working on is a window project at the center office building that,
Oh, that's right, yeah, I remember that.
to put storm windows in over there.
Right.
And then I know they have, they're involved with one of the CPA articles that you'll be seeing coming forward.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve Historical Commission line items 131, 132, 133, totaling $1,200.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? 6-0.
Debt service.
Debt service,
So we have two projects that are in the regular budget. They're both debt exclusions. One is the Town Hall Center Office Building renovation project. The other is Burgess Elementary School project. So those are the only two principal items, and then the interest on those two projects. And then I budget $10,000 a year. There is no projects really that I'm aware of that will be borrowing projects coming forward. But one of the items is if we have an ATB case and we basically lose and we have to award interest, the interest would come out of this account. We do currently have some ATB cases pending. Most of them are the telecommunications appeals, but again, this money, it probably will not be used, but I do ask that you budget for it, just in case it's needed.
I'll make a motion that Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve debt principal line items 134 and 135 in the amount of $1,093,000.
I'll second.
oh, how much longer do we have on, well, Burgess is pretty recent.
Do you have your yellow book?
A yellow book?
Your FinCom book? Yeah, it's in the back of that book.
That's because I had to get a new one, because I lost my old one for some reason.
I didn't bring that up with me.
Your husband
I have
stole
a
it.
suspicion of where it is.
2032, maybe?
No,
It's like the last
You're on that
page.
page, I think you're right.
I'm right here? Oh, yes. So Burgess is 2030,
Okay, close.
and
28?
Town Hall is 2029? Oh, I didn't realize they were that close. Okay.
We're getting there.
Oh,
There's actually, there's three different
yeah, one
projects for three different loans.
Burgess is one of them is 31. Yeah. Was that what you said, 31?
I thought 32 maybe, I wasn't sure.
Oh, you were close.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
And moving along, I'll make a motion that Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve debt service interest line
Wait a minute,
items.
we didn't vote yet on debt service
I'm
principal.
sorry, you're right.
All in favor? This is the principal. You can't disrupt my methodology of what
There was
we're
unexpected
past.
discussion on that one. Debt service interest line items 136, 137, 138 in the amount of $411,842.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? That is 6-0. Right, moving along.
Unclassified?
Unclassified, yes.
So as I mentioned previously, at the Saturday budget meeting, group insurance, we were able to level fund it because of some of the changes that we had made to our retiree health insurance.
Is that on a going forward basis, or current retirees are seeing a change?
So it will be, going forward, this will now be the method that everyone has to go forward with. So before, if you did not have enough credits, it's not credits. If you weren't eligible, let's put it this way, if you weren't eligible for Social Security, you stayed in the active plan. Because if you're a municipal employee, you don't contribute to Social Security. You contribute to either Mass Teachers or Worcester Regional Retirement. So what we did is we implemented a post-65 plan, which basically anyone who had retired that was over 65, who had not been eligible for Medicare Parts A and B, we now make them enroll, and we will pay part of the premium for their Social Security as well as the penalty. So we've done that for all the people that will get a penalty. Now moving forward, when people turn 65, we will pay their Part B premium. It's like $134 a month, and we transfer them into a supplemental program to Social Security. So what it does is a couple things. First of all, we have medics for the supplemental plan that is much cheaper than an active plan. Reason being, when you're on Social Security, Medicare Parts A and B picks up 80% of the cost of your health care claims, and then your supplement picks up 20%, whereas if you're an active plan, it's picking up 100% or whatever. The insurance won't pay 100%, but whatever the reasonable amount is that the insurance pays. So we're basically switching the burden to Social Security versus the health insurance plan, which then reduces our liability for health insurance costs, because now we're only responsible for 20% versus 100%. And so it's cheaper going forward. Everyone moving forward will be in those plans. It's been very successful. We had, I believe, 5 or 6 individuals that we moved into the plan. It took a little bit of work in the beginning because it was also a learning lesson for Social Security as to what we were doing. We were one of the early communities to implement this post-65 program, but other communities are doing it. And so we were able to—
You say Social Security, you mean Medicare?
The post-65 program. So Social Security was having a hard time understanding why we were sending our retirees to sign up for something they weren't eligible for.
For Medicare, yeah.
Right, because they had to understand that we were going to pay, we understood there was a penalty, we were going to pay the penalty. So even with us paying the penalty that these people were incurring, it's still cheaper than an active plan. And like I said, now going forward, there will be no penalties because automatically, once people turn 65, they'll enroll. The only thing that we'll be responsible for is the Part B premium, which is currently $134, and then 50% of the supplemental plan. So it's definitely a win-win. The insurance is very, the supplemental insurance we have here is very good. And there was never issues with the retiree health insurance for those that were able to automatically go into it. And I have heard no issues once we got the bugs out with, it took a while for Social Security to catch up with them, so they were getting past due premiums and different things, but everything's working seamlessly at this point.
What about prescription drug coverage?
We do have prescription drug coverage.
That's separate from the Social Security, Medicare?
It's on our side of the house, so they do not have to take Part D. We have a prescription drug plan under our medics plan. Yep.
What makes it automatic? Is it a bargaining agreement?
What makes what automatic?
Is it now that automatically enrolled?
We basically, it's a stipulation of their employment with us. If they want to continue their health insurance coverage through us, they have to enroll.
And have anyone had any problems finding Medicare providers?
Nope, not that I'm aware of. And I'm usually the first to hear if there's an issue, so no, I don't think there's any issues. So, go what?
Are there any employees left who never contributed to Medicare? I mean, because that...
Everybody contributes to Medicare.
Part A, right, Part A.
No, but there were some who didn't ever.
They didn't contribute to Social Security, but
No,
they did.
if you were
contribute to
hired
Medicare.
prior to
Oh, there was this-
1986, you did not have to contribute.
Right. But I think after that, you had to, I believe.
You have to pay.
Yes, you have to pay 1.45%
Yeah,
of
you
your.
have to pay the percentage, yeah.
Yep.
But there were.
Yes, anyone prior to 1986, I don't remember the month, but it's definitely the year.
So are there still employees?
There could be, yes.
Well, that's 32 years ago?
33 years, so.
Well, I suppose
Maybe getting
there
on
could
a
be
little
some random ones.
Fewer and
but-
fewer, but yes.
Yeah.
So, again, we were lucky this year that we were able to level fund the health insurance costs because of the changes that we implemented. So the budget reflects that. Unemployment is level funded. Worcester Regional Retirement, that is our actual assessment for fiscal 2020. We are able to receive a slight discount because we pay the assessment all in one payment on July 1st, and the budget number reflects that. Medicare tax increased slightly. The next three items, streetlights, legal fees, tax title, are level. Insurance blanket, slight increase. Reserve fund, slight increase based on the formula we used to calculate that.
OPEB, I think you told us that was 7,500 should be in there.
Right, so you need to add, and I'm still waiting for a quote, but I feel like 7,500 is a safe number.
Okay.
Oh, so that might change?
I'm pretty sure it's good, that's good.
The OPEB.
And that's what it was 2 years ago, and I can't see that it would have went up substantially. And then everything else, I believe, is level funded.
What are we using that energy consulting for? What is that still for?
So we were using that for all the net metering credits, and we are going to have to reach out to her again. So with the net metering, they're attached to each of the solar projects. There's something called a Schedule Z, and that Schedule Z basically allocates your credits to each of your electric bills. And Chris has been tasked with this job, and we have found we needed to go long enough to kind of get a whole year cycle of the credits, because obviously there's peaks at certain times a year to electricity usage. And so what we have found is at this point in time, we have credits sitting on some bills that are larger than the bills that need to be paid, and then we have other bills where we're still paying amounts each month. So what we need to do, once a year, you're able to adjust the Schedule Z to move those credits. And that's what we need to do now. And I think we're going to need her assistance in doing that, because this is definitely new to us. And not to say that we'll need a lot of time, but that is what Leon was using the energy consultant's skills for, is all that net metering stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually hoping that once we move some of those credits around, that next year we'll actually be able to lower the electricity costs a little more, but it's kind of still a work in progress with working it all out.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend town meeting approve unclassified line items 139 through 154 in the amount of $4,086,835, which is the amount in our sheets with the $7,500 added in there for the
So it's
OPEB
$4
line.
million.
$4,086,835.
Okay.
I'll second.
Is that with the 7,500?
Yeah. And Barbara is double checking my math.
Yep, 486,835.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, 6-0. And then, probably the last for you, right, is central purchasing?
Central purchasing, yeah. So increase the telephone line item slightly. We're bringing online a lot more tablets. And so there's a cost involved with the different data plans for those, so that they can use them out in the field. And let's see. I think everything else is level.
What happened with water sewer?
What happened with it?
Yeah, fiscal year 18,
Wow, it was 118?
118,000, now it's 11,000.
Wow.
Sewer?
Is that
a typo?
could that be a typo?
Where are you looking at that?
Under FY18, it's 118,654.
Are you on the sideways sheets?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
It's 11,000
Actual
in the
expenditure?
detailed
That
sheet.
can't be right.
It must be a typo.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Well,
If you look at the total, it can't be that. Well, it could be, I guess.
it's an actual.
No, that's not right.
Okay, detail.
Well, it doesn't carry down into the central purchasing total, so. Oh, it does.
42. Oh, yeah, it says 11,000 there. Oh, that
Did
was
that get
18.
flipped with the gasoline? Perhaps. If you look at the line above, it's 8,800.
Perhaps.
It probably just has a formula error in the file. I'll look at the file, because I know, I see it. I'll look-
Yeah, the gas is off.
I didn't see where any of that stuff
8,800,
was.
and now it's 150. They might have been
Yeah, it
flipped.
might have just been switched.
I'll take a look.
Yeah. Oh.
And the window cleaning, I know we talked about that. Did you say that it's moved into central purchasing,
Yeah, it's there.
Yep.
but it'll be a new line item?
It's every other year,
Every
so
other
it is in central purchasing. So yeah, 3,100 is what we budgeted.
And that covers
Town Hall and Cobb.
just those two buildings?
I think we were able to actually do the library last year, 2 years ago also. I'll have to get back to you on that.
It's okay.
Okay, wanna make a motion, Mike?
I'll make a motion that Finance Committee recommend that town meeting approve central purchasing line items 155 through 165 in the amount of $338,900.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0.
So Tom Ford had indicated at the Saturday budget meeting that he could reduce his overtime slightly, if you remember. So I have that figure if you want to just write it down so when he comes.
Yeah, he is coming on the 11th. I could
Okay.
talk to him today.
So you can reduce his overtime budget by $4,684.
Page, wait a minute, what page?
23. Page 23.
Do you have the number? Do you have the, oh, you
So
do.
overtime will be reduced by
4,000.
4,684.
Okay.
Which is roughly 1%.
Did you do the math and you had to give me a total?
Okay, is there anything else for Barbara?
I
I don't think so, right?
I think I had, hang on just a second, Barbara, we talked, did you watch the, last week's meeting?
Most of it.
Okay. When we were talking about the merit, do you know, it hasn't happened yet for fiscal year 19, right? So you don't,
It was just paid in this week's paycheck.
do you know what the percentage was percentage out of the bucket used?
I do not know right now, but I can get that for you.
Do you mind?
Nope.
I'm just curious. And hang on just a sec, if you don't mind.
And while she's looking that up, Barbara, could you clarify how many people, I think we might have asked you this before, how many people, was it 16 people in
I
that?
think it's,
deal?
I think it's 16. Let me check.
See what that's saying.
I think it's the same folder. I think it's 16.
I'm pretty sure you answered that question maybe before, it was 16.
I think it's 16. Because now we have the IT specialist is in the pool and the facilities coordinator. Yes, it's 16.
16. 16 people participate in that merit-based pay incentive pool.
Yep, so those are the department heads, basically.
So there's roughly $24,000 with 16 people participating in it, so, you know.
Well, it's 2% of the salaries of
I
those,
understand. So
of those
some
16
people
people.
get a few $100s, and some people might get a few $1,000s.
Correct. The matching grants. We haven't used it?
No, we have. So we have a agreement with the town of Spencer. They're the lead on I think it's a stormwater grant that we have to pay $4,000 every year towards for our part of the match. And that's the only thing that I'm aware of right now. I know that the fire department has applied for a grant. I don't remember exactly what it was for. Last I spoke to the chief, he still did not know if he had received it, so there's some potential there. We had decided, I don't know, this goes back a while, but there's sometimes where grant opportunities come up where, you know, you have to make a decision very quickly. You know that there's an opportunity, you're ready to apply for it. Sometimes you find out with a very short window. If you don't have an appropriation to be able to make the match, then you really can't sign off that you are able to make the match. So we had, I believe it's $20,000, right, that we're budgeting for that. So we had made the effort to put 20 in. I think at one point it was $10,000, and then we had something going on that we increased it. The 4 is definite. That's been coming out yearly, and we can look back in the expenditure report to see what that line item has been over the past few years.
It was, in 18, it was 4,074, so.
I mean, this only goes back to fiscal 15, so I'm not sure what, we must have had a match of something that was $74, because the 4,000 is definitely that stormwater grant.
Odd, $74 match, but.
I mean, things do come up. I mean, it's basically there so that if we need it, the only other
No,
option.
I understand that
The only other
we need
option
it.
we would have is if we had something that someone wanted to apply for, we'd have to call a FinCom meeting and have you guys meet so that we could get a reserve fund transfer. I don't think it's a lot of money. If we don't use it, it closes back out.
No, I wasn't questioning the amount. I was just questioning the use of it in the past year. And I wanted to know if there was anything else forthcoming, because I know you need to have a certain amount of money in there. And at the Saturday meeting, I think police chief indicated that he was looking into other grants for various things, probably similarly to fire, right? I know fire is pretty active in getting grants or
Right.
seeking out grants.
Right. I mean, some of we are getting grants. There's some grants that there is no match. You
Okay.
get the grant.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if there is a match with the one that the fire chief has applied for or not.
Right.
And like I said, last I had talked to him, he had not heard yet if they had received the grant. I honestly, I'd have to check with him to see if he's heard anything. That was probably about a month ago.
Yeah, I think, I didn't jot down the 2, but I recall he was working on 1 or 2. He's waiting to hear. I don't know that was necessarily matching grant funds versus another line item expenditure in his budget there. I think he's got line item expenditures where he's going to buy some equipment, and with the grant, he would spend less out of that particular line item.
Yes, I think in either Betterment or Capital, he applied for something, yes. And then sometimes some of the grants, they don't have a dollar match, but they have an in-kind match. So if you can show that, staff did something towards it, that counts as the match.
So the SAFER grant, we didn't have to put up any money for that. That was one of those types, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
And that, we're in year 2 with those?
We're in
with
year
that?
2, right. So,
We're going into year 2, because they came last year, right? They were
so
hired last year?
it doesn't run, it's not
I
running
know it's
fiscal
middle.
year.
Yeah.
Right, so we will, next year, we will be in, it'll be year 2 and a half, I guess, because in fiscal 2021, we'll only get reimbursement for half of the year. And that'll be the 35%, and then the second half will be 0.
Okay. So in that case, we would see an increase there, right? So,
In the budget?
well, what happens after that, after the life of the SAFER grant? I mean, I'm assuming the town will want to keep those firefighters.
That'll be a
Is it,
discussion that'll have to happen, right?
so does that happen with the Board of Selectmen?
It would have to, yes.
Okay, so it would be discussed before it's put in the budget, I guess. Is that right? Is that how it works?
Well,
Never had
I mean,
this
all I
happen.
can tell you is, there was discussion when, so the town applied for the grant prior to Chief Rosso getting here.
Right.
And my recollection was that when it was discussed, there was discussion regarding the fact that there was some fire personnel that would be aging out in the department, so there would be some retirements coming at just about the same time as the grant would be expiring. Now, that's not to say that those people would not be replaced, but I know that that was a discussion as something that was happening. But yes, there would have to be discussion going forward as to when that grant runs out, you know, what's the intent? So, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm sure the intent of the chief is that he's going to want to continue with those, you know, those employees, because obviously they felt it was important that they.
I think what we should expect is the chief will tell us that he is adequately staffed over there now, including these 4 SAFER positions. That enables him to provide 4 men on each shift, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and provide the coverage that he feels is adequate for the community. And he will continue to bring forth a staffing plan consistent with that level of staffing, and the cost of that will increase year by year in our budgets as that SAFER grant falls off. And we'll see the full impacts of paying 100% of those costs. And as the town administrator brings forward the budget each year, we're seeing that in this year's budget. The salary line items are higher in the fire department because we're not getting 100% reimbursement for the SAFER grant.
Well, it was never 100%, it was 75, but right, we're getting a smaller percentage.
So we'll see that line item going up. Town administrator will bring forward his recommended plan. There'll be discussions among selectmen, you know, do they still want that level of service and staffing and at the cost that's there? And we'll certainly have that discussion here, I'd assume, as to, you know, the affordability of that level of staffing. And priority of that level of staffing versus other services in the community, if there's a tight budget here.
So part of that is, in the 5-year forecast, is that in that 5-year forecast currently? If we look at the 5-year forecast currently, does it show the falling off of that grant?
No,
So that further depletes
it does.
the availability of funding in the next coming years, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Ouch.
I don't think I had any other questions for Barbara.
Anybody
So,
else have anything for Barbara?
I just, my goal is still to have warrant articles to you by mid-April. The selectmen are meeting on April 10th. That's a Wednesday night. And I'm hoping that they will be able to, I just want to make sure it's the 10th, yeah. So I'm hoping that they will be able to at least support or place the articles that they are looking to move forward for the annual and the special town meeting, and then that way I can get that information to you. If not for your meeting on the 11th, for your meeting on the 16th, because it's the night before. I'm not going to promise. But I think that the timing will work well because you'll be finishing up line item budgets probably on the 11th, 9th and 11th, if Chief Fordy's coming on the 11th.
Right. I haven't been able to quite pin down the schools, because they're quite busy, but I did contact them today to get a date, and
Did you schedule Board of Health?
not yet, no.
No. Who, by
I
the
have
way,
to
who
get
do I
her.
speak to on that? That's mine.
Linda Kokalis?
It is Linda.
Yeah, I have to get her, actually, I'm not sure if I have her phone number, but maybe I'll get it from you.
Okay.
And then, I think, oh, we have to get economic development and STA.
So I talked to
Otherwise,
Kev-
we're pretty much.
I talked to Kevin today, and I told him that you would be in touch with him once you get the warrant articles.
Yeah, that probably
This is
makes sense.
budget,
'cause
there's really nothing in it.
right.
It seems a waste for him to come out twice.
Right, right. He could come a little later, yes.
With STA? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
SDA.
So really, we just need Board of Health
It's just Board
and
of,
School
right.
to come. And the school said they couldn't, I asked them about next week, and they can't, but they might be able to come the following week. But Chief Ford will be here on the 11th. Maybe I'll try and get the Board of Health, too. Then, if I can get a hold of her. I think that's about it.
That would be everybody.
And when will we get an expenditure report?
It's funny, because I was actually thinking about that when Jean was speaking, and I'll let Chris know to start sending those to.
Oh, yes,
weekly.
that's right. I was thinking about that the other day, actually. Yeah.
I got one a while ago, but
It's been a while.
You want them every week, right? Or do you need them every
It would be
week?
good until.
Yeah, we usually
for-
get
for
them
end
every
of
week,
year,
I
right?
think, once.
Okay, he's just going to email it to you like he normally does.
Right.
Okay.
Right. All right, then.
Good.
Anything else for Barbara at this point? Okay.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Barbara.
Have a good night.
You too. Hopefully we won't be here too much longer.
drive safely.
Why, is it snowing?
No, she's going all the way up.
Did we vote Finance Committee?
No.
Do you want to?
Oh, we
Yeah,
should
could
do that. I thought about
yes. I was just looking at that, yes. We could definitely do that.
There's no question, right?
No,
It's just your stipend, how much is it?
it's just, our zero stipend.
My
and-
stipend? Shh. So I'll make a motion to, accept Finance Committee budget in the amount of $7,189 for lines 8, 9, and 10.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? That's 6-0. I know, I realized I hadn't been using my usual methodology, but I think I've caught up, so that I could just look to see what we've done.
We're actually looking pretty good.
Got a lot of stuff there.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Larry's not gonna get
It
$300
did have a
this
line
year.
item. It's in the TA's budget.
Any reason to meet in May?
All right, let's see, any other discussion of any other budgets? Now that I put a generic budget discussion.
So, not for
We
me.
have no reserve fund transfer, but we do have several minutes, which of course were just sent to us, but. First one is really easy, March 6th. It's about 3 lines or so.
That was
so
a teeny one.
we could do that one easily enough.
Take a quick look at it.
Sure. I have them all if you want them all.
Does everyone have a copy? I have a copy.
I have
You need it.
copies here.
Did you see it?
Double-sided.
March
same
6th?
papers, so. Oh, that one's not double-sided.
That was that Burgess.
That was,
The
At
first one
Burgess,
is
yeah.
March 6th for that, the Burgess budget.
that's when we waited for Karen to leave, then we voted on the minutes.
What?
That was just
Oh, yeah, we
teasing.
did actually.
Did she leave? Because I think I put her in the.
No, she's not, she's,
No, she was there, but then.
she was at the meeting, but she wasn't there when we approved the minutes.
Oh.
We had approved some other minutes, so I think she had already
Everybody
left.
started to
But I think
leave.
she's in my total.
I don't know.
Oops.
Just double check my math, Jan. I didn't realize she left.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
No?
Voted 700, and there was 8 of us at the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but Karen had left.
Yeah, she left, and then
Yeah,
you
right,
said, why
right.
don't we vote on the minutes? And I turned, and you were going around the corner.
And we said,
so
"Oh,
you
forget it."
chased me down.
We just said forget it.
So,
Okay, is there a,
So you typically know if someone had left, but that's okay. The
Yeah.
other thing I would suggest is, it's implied because it was called to order prior to the school committee meeting, but a sentence just to say, I mean,
Do you want me to change that?
just a sentence to indicate that we, listened to the budget presentation by the school committee. That's what our business was for the day.
Well, it was immediately preceding the Burgess School Committee meeting. You want me to change that?
You could add a sentence, that the first paragraph is fine, if you then want to just add a sentence in there that says the Finance Committee, heard the budget,
presentation of
the presentation of the Burgess
the
budget.
Burgess budget, yeah. Because we didn't really care
Because we
about
were
their
attending the
meeting.
Burgess Elementary School
Right.
budget.
or whatever else they were doing. Which actually, I think, preceded
You know what I mean?
budget hearing.
yeah, but
Technically, this is the budget meeting, right?
this was a,
Yeah, right.
So it was a school committee meeting. We went to the meeting, and then we called our meeting right after, just to approve the
the Burgess
minutes.
School Committee, was that a meeting or a public hearing?
It was both, really, but we were there really for the public hearing on the budget. Because they actually had their meeting beforehand.
Okay.
And then they ended the public hearing, and then they actually voted on their budget in the regular meeting. And then they left.
So do you want me to change that?
Yeah, I think it should indicate that we were
Can I
there for
have
the public
this?
hearing.
Yes.
Burgess School Committee public hearing.
Yeah, on the budget. Or on their 2020 budget, I guess it would be, to be precise.
Okay. That's it?
Is that all you wanted?
I would like to.
Speak
yeah.
now or forever hold your peace.
So, so after that first, if you just put a sentence after that first paragraph,
Yep, I've got it.
the Finance Committee, heard the proposed Burgess School Committee FY '20 budget.
Okay, got it, done.
All right, we'll send that out again, right? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended for March 6th?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, Bruce, you weren't there. You weren't there. So, opposed, abstaining. So that'd be Bruce.
So
Go ahead.
501.
Yes. 501. All right, who made that motion?
I did.
Jim. And who seconded it?
I did.
Okay. Did you get all that?
I got it.
Oh, good. And we had, wait a minute. Oh, you have another one. March 23rd, which was the budget meeting with the Board of Selectmen. That was 501.
I've got some changes to propose.
Oh, go ahead, because you.
I already wrote them in, so if we approve the changes, I can just give it to you. Oh, you? Okay, so when you go down to it, it says highlights of the town's fiscal year '20 budget. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth sentence says, coming at the end of the third sentence, and education increases make up for many of the new monies available. I think it should be monies needed. They won't be available, it's a deficit.
I'll change it to that if you like, but I stole it.
You stole it from
I
me.
stole that sentence from Barbara.
Oh.
Because I didn't know how to word it.
Okay, so
But
I
I'll
think it
change
should
it
be
as
changed.
wish.
Discussion is, there's a
The
certain
money's not
amount of-
available, the money has to be made available, we have to obtain
Yeah.
the money.
Okay,
so.
did you write that down?
I did.
So what do you want to?
I changed the word available to needed.
Oh,
And then if you go down to the last
Hang on.
sentence, I did it for the sake of just changing one word.
That's fine.
All right, fine. Okay.
I was gonna change funds needed, and then the last sentence, it says the FY, it says if this scenario remains static, I think I would change that to if this trend continues.
Okay.
And then, under police, Tom Ford, I went back and looked this up just for the sake of clarity, because it was in the first meeting we had when he sat right there, and that's, so if you go to the second sentence, it says, request for a drone and the purchase of guns,
And ammunition.
it says guns, ammunition.
I think it's actually simunition.
I put simunition guns, the purchase
Okay.
of simunition guns, and at the end of that sentence, you continue on, point to review on the purchase of the associated ammunition,
Yep.
the associated ammunition, in other words, with the gun, you have ammunition.
Right.
From the capital budget as it is expendable. Mike was making a point that the ammunition is a consumable, so it
Yeah,
should
it's
be.
not
But
a
I-
capital.
I disagree with that in the sense that when you first purchase it, it's part of the package. You buy the gun, the clips, or the
Well, I was only
and the whole
trying to
thing.
state
No,
what
no,
Mike
but
said.
Mike was trying to make a fine point that
Oh.
we shouldn't be quoting the ammunition as a capital thing because it's a consumable. So that's all I did was change that little bit there. And
Okay.
that's all I changed. So the sentence reads, on the purchase of the associated ammunition from the capital.
Oh, should it be the
et cetera, et
simunition?
He did put that down there.
Yeah,
cetera.
okay.
Back here I did.
Yeah.
Well, it is ammunition once you're talking about it.
Is it?
It's
not-
ammunition, but it's fake
Wow, you
ammunition.
guys all
It's
must
fake.
be licensed to carry people.
Yeah, simunition.
I went to
gun.
capital budget hearings. I know about it. Oh, okay.
Anyway,
He did put he did
did.
use that word.
I did. I wouldn't kid you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, is there a motion to?
Hang on.
Which?
You want me to capitalize drone?
It's capitalism.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't find anything else. Did I print that on too? No, I didn't.
So the only other suggestion I have is, you have the major heading DPW Butch Jackson. And then the second paragraph under that talks about after the DPW discussion, the two committees reviewed the additional line item in the BOS budget, and then how the TK explained he thought necessary. Can we just make it clear that the additional line item was the addition of the stipend?
Yeah, nobody
Okay.
would know if they were reading
Yep.
it, what that was.
Yep.
And I did leave the meeting prior to the Board of Selectmen dissolving their meeting.
Oh, that's right.
Note that.
All righty.
That was quick.
Must have been a slow leak instead of a gusher.
Need a new faucet.
You actually came back to our meeting.
Wow.
That's dedication.
That's wicked cool. Never had that happen.
Whoa. All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes of March 23rd as amended?
So moved.
Second.
And then Karen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Were you not there?
No, he wasn't there.
Okay.
Are you voting?
I did.
Oh, he did, okay. Opposed and abstaining. So 501 with Bruce abstaining. Okay. And we're on to March 26th, which was last Tuesday. Yeah. Quite lengthy.
I don't think I was there.
Under the review, second paragraph, town administrators, not capitalized.
Where is that?
Where are you on that one?
Second paragraph is under review of the fiscal year 2020 assessor's budget. Finance committee, you can get mine either.
Where? I don't see where that is.
Do they have to be capitalized? Isn't that a,
Looks in every other.
Oh,
It should
okay.
be, yeah. Town administrator. In the finance committee, it should be. I mean, it doesn't change the meaning, but it should be.
Where are you? I'm sorry, I can't quite
In
find
this paragraph right here. Town
do you see it,
administrator.
Joanne?
Oh, under the
Finance
assessor's
committee.
budget.
Do you want this after I mark it?
You can give it to Joanne, she
Okay.
did that one.
Okay.
Finance committee wants
Oh.
capitalized.
The finance committee, right.
Okay, I marked it up. I missed that. At the end of review for fiscal year clerks, town clerk's budget, the sentence right after the grid is finished, I have just a clarification, I think. People can disagree if they want. It says, KS asked if the town clerk position is a salaried position. And I don't think he asked it that way because it is a salary position. I think we all knew that. I think Kevin's question was the town clerk's position included in the step and grade
Yeah, I think that's what he
matrix?
meant, yes.
I believe that was his
Because
question.
she's elected.
So I wrote that here.
I think that was his question,
And
too.
If everyone agrees, I think that was his question. Is it in the
Yeah.
the graphic? Because we knew it was salary, so.
So it's on the step in,
Yeah, so I wrote it in here. And then further down, after the next grid, which is for elections and registration, if you go to the third sentence, it says, "This prevents Barbara Barry from having to request funds at a special town meeting." I think that would be better if it said, instead of prevents, "This eliminates Barbara Barry having to request funds at a special town meeting," instead of prevents. It eliminates the need.
Okay.
That's all.
The sentence before that, capitalization, you know, town administrator. And,
If you're gonna give that
Yeah,
to her.
that's right.
Joanne.
Yep,
Next to
I'll
level
mark,
two.
I'll change that too, yeah.
Joanne,
know,
he's-
right?
He's gonna mark his,
I'm marking it up, Joanne.
fiscal year,
Where's that, Bruce?
building inspector, the first line under review of fiscal year 2020 building inspector budget.
Okay.
And I think we probably capitalized special town meeting.
And we capitalize building inspector too, huh? Where is special town meeting?
In the line that you
I can't see it.
this prevents Barbara from.
Oh.
oh, up there.
Special town meeting, yeah.
Maybe because that's not referring to a particular town meeting.
Yeah, it's not referring to a specific one, so
Maybe not.
it's probably, could be lowercase.
Yeah, it's a special town meeting, so it's
Right.
speaking generically, if that's the right word, I don't know.
Jump ahead of you.
Okay.
Anything else? And that's all I had in this.
Anybody else have any changes to March 26th? Is there a motion to approve March 26th minutes as amended? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Oh, that's right, you weren't here.
I wasn't here.
Like, why are you not abstaining, Joan? Okay, that's right. And then the last one for tonight is March 28th. Then we will be caught up. Not that we were really behind, but. This is 28th. I did
Well, the
read.
first thing I have at the beginning, Barbara Barry wasn't at the meeting, so she shouldn't be listed in the attendance.
Oh, that's right, she was at the first meeting last Tuesday, but she wasn't at that one.
And then in the paragraph after the grid, second line, JW asked if the performance bonuses is still in place. That's not what I asked. I asked if, referring to the prior sentence where TK explained that it was put in place, and prior to that it says merit-based pay incentive. So MH questioned the item for merit-based pay incentive. TK explained that it, the merit-based pay incentive, was put on blah, 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 blah. I put JW asked if it, meaning the performance pay incentive, is a if it is a performance bonus, period. That was my question. Is it a performance bonus? So that I think corrects that. And then the second sentence from the bottom in that same paragraph, which has not become part of an employee's salary, and performance bonus, I think we should add the word bonus after performance, also not part of salary. I think it gives context to the sentence.
Do you want longevity to be bonus as well?
What's that?
Do you want the longevity to say bonus?
I think if it follows and you just plug the word in, it makes sense if you read the the sentences in sequence. Then I have a question, Joe. I think I asked you this. Did you abstain or did you vote no?
Oh, yeah, the voting, so I voted no.
On what?
On the recreation, I didn't abstain.
Oh. Evan? Where's the
So
vote?
she voted no, and then this doesn't matter. You know, the previous one, you have me abstaining, that's okay. Doesn't matter. And at the very end of the new business, it says, KS asked if the meeting minute approval could be, oh, yeah, that's
She
fine.
voted.
I changed it to plural, but it doesn't have to be. It could be meeting minutes or meeting minute approval.
Where are you now?
New business. It says, KS asked if the meeting minute approval, I changed it to minutes, but it doesn't
Oh, it'd
have
be
to be.
first on the agenda.
It doesn't have to have an S in that context. That's all I got.
Oh. Right. Okay.
A review of fiscal year 2020 Board of Selectmen budget.
Yeah.
Third sentence. That is, BOS is the executive branch. Figures out there.
I'm sorry?
Third line, under review of fiscal.
So you want to capitalize executive?
No, it's, I did say that. It's the third sentence. It says,
Oh.
he said is that the BOS is the executive branch. I think there's.
Is there another word in
Oh,
there?
is, shouldn't be there.
Oh, he said,
That. We
okay.
just, he said
The
that.
is should be gone, yeah,
Yeah, no,
okay.
is. Oh, good catch.
Okay, I put a line through it.
I don't know, this is my first style. It says, AR stated that although she had ideas for additional programs, she did not have any programs without increasing her hours to 45 a week.
Where is that, Bruce?
Recreation.
Yeah. I know, but I'm looking for it. Oh, I get it. I know.
I mean, take out the in?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Says in, I think, without
Where are we
increasing
at?
her hours. Right at the top of page 3, the second line. Are yours numbered? I don't remember.
Well,
Mine came out
maybe my
numbered.
print size is different, so it might be the bottom page, too. AR stated that she hears weekly. What's the sentence again?
AR stated that although she had ideas for additional programs, she could not add any additional programs without increasing, take out the end.
without increasing her hours to 35 a week. I don't know when this is. Oh, right here, I think.
She's got it, I think.
She
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you already
Joanne
have
has
it?
it. Joanne's got it. So, yeah.
All right, so moving down the bottom of that page, underneath the bullets for the betterment budget, it says MA questioned the lighting. I asked about the status of the lighting.
It was lighting for what?
For the Little League field.
Little League, okay.
Yeah, that's the stuff that we approved, what, last year?
Last year, tell me.
Right.
Yep, and if you flip your page, the top of the last page there, the first paragraph, starts a SAFER grant. At the end of that line, it says, enable chief to meet minimum staffing levels. Meet should be provide minimum staffing.
Sorry?
Meet should be changed to provide.
I can't hear you.
Jim, do you get it? Did you hear him?
Enabled the chief at the end of that first line
Yeah.
to provide minimum staffing levels, not meet minimum staffing levels.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion on March 28th
So moved.
as amended? Okay, is there a second?
1 second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Okay. I think the next item is new business.
I would just say we
Thanks
tweaked
for
a few
doing that.
words to make sure to reflect what we have, but I think the level of content and the format you have is very good
Oh, yes,
for those
definitely.
minutes.
So he's going to give it, okay.
So I have Butch Jackson on Thursday. I know he came in on Saturday. He's kind of new. Is there anything in particular you guys want additional information on that I should give him a heads up about?
Let me think. Can I send an email to you?
Yeah, send me an email.
Send it to
Yeah,
Karen.
he's coming in Thursday, so I was gonna just reach out to him tomorrow if there was something specific.
Okay. Maybe,
That was- it
we
was-
always talk about staffing levels, so I think he talked about that a bit.
He
at the-
did, and
at the Saturday meeting.
And before we closed the books, when we were looking through all the budgets, the road
Right,
maintenance.
Right.
I
I think it's level funded.
Doesn't that go on a warrant now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but can we not vote this number in then? Or do you want to wait until Thursday? I don't really care, but let me just get to it first. I'm talking about the. So the town road maintenance, do you want to wait until Thursday? That's just the level $6,000.
Oh, no, let's wait till Thursday.
Okay.
I guess it's for the
It's
private
the other
roads.
stuff that goes on the warrant.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 400 something. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, can you summarize for me what you're talking about?
The road maintenance, the public road
Yeah.
maintenance is now a
can
warrant
take a picture
article,
of it on
but
my
we were talking about it's $6,000 for the private roads, which is just
Yeah.
level funded every year.
It's line 96.
I'd rather just vote all the DPW stuff at once.
That's just 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other new business?
Public access.
Old business, no, we have to go do old business first.
Okay.
Old business. Public access, we do have public here.
We have Mr. Town Administrator, he may have some
He has some
public
words of
access.
wisdom for
Just
us.
Do you
teasing,
have
just
anything to
teasing.
add? Yeah, do you have anything for
Appreciate your
us?
hard work on the budget. It's a
Thank
tough-
you.
It's a tough gig, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you hanging in there with us, thank you.
Yes. Oh, wait, I did have one item of new business, which I forgot. I believe that there is a birthday person here. I believe it's Karen's birthday today.
Today,
Happy
You know,
birthday.
those social media things pop up, so yes, happy birthday.
finally old enough to drink, huh?
I actually started counting back at 40, so I'm in my 20s.
Oh, I like that, that's good, that's good. I usually just take 10 years off my age.
I'd start counting back at 40, I'd be negative
So is
numbers
there a
by now.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we will see you Thursday.
Thank you. Jeez, Jim, that's an eye-opener, huh?